While I was streaming TF2 the other day, I got a question about which was the best starting class to pick if you're new. I got the same question again in the comments, so I thought I'd make a quick video showing off what I thought and how to play the classes to start out. Hi, I'm Swansong, I've been playing TF2 since 2016, and this is my boot camp guide to starting Team Fortress 2 today. Alright, drumroll please. What I think you should be running first of all is Stock. There'll be plenty of time later to worry about which item to use and which class to play, so what I'm going to do first of all is show you what all of the class's stock loadouts are like and how to use them. If you've got your heart set on playing Pyro or Spy, feel free to skip to that section. Stick around at the end though, because I'm going to go over a short section for settings to adjust to help you as you start. Starting off at the block, we've got Scout. Fastest character in the game, and with the ability to double jump, your base mobility is the best in the game. You do have low health, but your scattergun will mulch most classes in 1 to 2 good hits up close. And your pistol is good for when your scattergun needs to be reloaded or an enemy is just too far away for it. As Scout, you should try to move as unpredictably as you can while in a fight, combining crouching, jumping, and strafing back and forth. Team Fortress 2 runs on the source game engine, which has a quirk in it that if you crouch and jump at the same time, you'll go slightly higher, which you can mix in as well for even more unpredictability. Try to avoid running face first into a fight. Your low health will mean you'll die quickly to splash damage from explosive classes. Circle around the fight and pick off people one by one. Lastly, as Scout, you capture objectives twice as fast as anyone else, which can be a big help to your team, so if there's not much time left to capture the point, run onto it, you might take it for the team. Next we've got the Soldier, rocket jumper extraordinaire. Shoot a rocket at your feet and jump at the same time and you'll go flying through the air. Do a crouch jump we talked about earlier, and you'll go even higher and further. I highly recommend you visit a community server named Jump Academy to learn the skills because it opens up a lot of options for you. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video. As Soldier, you have a rocket launcher and a shotgun. Your launcher is best for close to mid-range, though you are not immune to your own explosives, so you could accidentally blow yourself up, which is why it's good you also have your shotgun. You can also spam your rockets at opponents from far away to make life harder for them, but you're unlikely to get any kills doing that. If an enemy gets too close or you need to reload, pull out your shotgun, and it's a reliable workhorse for any class that has it. You'll be able to get some kills with it. One last tip is that direct hits do the most damage, but if you can, shoot a rocket right at the enemy's feet to knock them up into the air. At that point you can hit them with a rocket or a shotgun blast before they hit the ground, which is a really convenient way to kill them. As Soldier, you deal a ton of splash damage, which means you're great at dealing with groups of enemies when they gather around the objective. Up next we've got Pyro, a very versatile class with a lot to learn how to do, but I'm going to keep it to the basics here. You have a shotgun as a backup. It's as useful for you as it is for anyone else, but the real star of the show is your flamethrower. Some people complain that the Pyro just WM1s, where you walk forward and get easy kills just by holding down fire. But that's kind of what you're for. Faster than a heavy and with almost no need to aim, just look at what you want dead. You're great at getting up close and punishing bad positioning and low health pushes by burning down multiple opponents at once. Applying afterburn, which can kill even after they manage to take you down. This short range power comes at the cost of any long range options though. Try to avoid big open spaces or move through them with your team. Your flamethrower is great for spy checking. If you just swing fire around from time to time, you can catch spies off guard, even in places you wouldn't expect them to be. Your air blast is the last part of your kit. If a teammate is on fire, you can point your flamethrower at them and hit mouse 2 or aim down sights in other games. You'll put out the fire and get 20 health back as a reward. You can also use this to reflect rockets and explosive pills, making the explosive your team's. If you bounce it back at the person who shot it or another opponent, it'll deal extra damage, but even if you just reflect it, it will stop it from damaging your teammates. It can still hurt you, but keeping explosives away from your team is a big help in a firefight. On to Demo Man, the explosive expert. Like the Soldier, he does the most damage when his pills hit dead on. Unlike Soldier though, if you miss, the pills will land on the ground and remain there for a short time, after which they will detonate, dealing a decent amount of damage even if you missed. Your pills travel slowly though, so it's best to lead your shots aiming where you think the opponent will be moving to instead of where they are. Aside from your melee weapon, both of Demo Man's other weapons can deal damage to him, which makes positioning and area control very important for the Demo Man so that you don't accidentally blow yourself up. Your sticky launcher is your other main weapon. Shoot it at most surfaces and the bomb will stick to the floor, wall, or ceiling and stay there until you either die or trigger the explosion. You can have up to 8 stickies active at a time. If you shoot more than 8, the old sticky will detonate to keep the number at 8. Or you can press mouse 2, which will detonate all of your active stickies at once. Careful though, if you're standing too close when you detonate them, you'll die first and the other stickies will vanish without doing any damage. Use your stickies and pills to destroy engineer buildings and control areas. Lastly, you can use a sticky bomb to explosive launch yourself like you do when you're playing soldier, if you jump and detonate at the same time. Careful though, using more than one, you're likely to die. The heavy weapons guy. The toughest mercenary in the game, you've got a ton of health and a ton of firepower. You have a shotgun to fall back on if need be, but that absolute monster of a minigun is all the firepower you should ever really need. All weapons in the game have some amount of damage ramp up, where the closer you are, the more damage you'll do, but this thing is where you'll really feel it, shredding through most anything that gets close. But here are some tips to help you with that rampage. Spin up is the amount of time it takes for you to be able to fire after pressing the fire button. This is when you're most vulnerable, as you cannot fire yet and you suffer a further decreased movement speed as a penalty before you can actually attack. The best way to work around this is to simply jump. Right before spinning up, jump in the direction you want to go, and you won't suffer the speed penalty until after you land. This is especially effective for jumping around corners, as it's much faster and more effective than solely walking around them. You can also stay spun up without firing by holding down mouse 2. The barrel will keep spinning until you press fire again, helping to save ammo. And finally, when in a firefight, you can't do much as heavy, but what you can do is crouch and uncrouch. Doing this while moving back and forth is a good way to avoid some damage, increasing your survivability. On to the Engineer. Arguably the class with the most unique playstyle in the game. You have a shotgun and pistol, but they're more formalities than anything else. The real stars of the show are your Construction and Destruction PDA, as well as the almighty wrench. Bring up your Construction PDA and you've got 4 buildings to pick from. Sentry gun, which shoots for you, your dispenser, teleporter, entrance, and teleporter exit. Hit the corresponding button to begin construction, press the fire button to place the building and begin building it. It will build itself over time, but it will build much faster if you keep hitting it with your wrench as it's building. This is how you upgrade your buildings as well. If you look at the bottom right, you can see the engineer's metal supply. You can use this as your ammo for buildings. Each building costs some metal to start building. If you don't have enough, you won't be able to start building it. It'll be grayed out. Metal is also used for repairs and upgrades, which are also done by smacking buildings with your wrench. Level 1 buildings are weak, level 2 buildings get the job done, but level 3 is where you want to be. Bigger guns, faster teleporter, and more health and metal from the dispenser. When building your sentry gun, that red dome that you can see is the gun's range. Anything outside of that dome, the gun won't be able to target. Careful not to stand in your sentry's way though, it can hurt you if it starts trying to shoot at something behind you. Don't worry about what way you put down the entrance, but when you build the exit, or your teleporter, look at the little arrow on the blueprint. That's the way people will be looking when they come out of the teleporter. You can rotate that and all other buildings by clicking mouse 2. Your buildings can be broken in all sorts of ways, from direct attacks to a spy zapper, which turns off the building and slowly breaks it. Something you can fix by, you guessed it, smacking the zapper with your wrench. One last tip, as engineer, your buildings are going to get smashed a lot. But that's because everyone knows how powerful a fully set up NG is. They'll build, build, and build again. Also, watch out for spies. Moving with much motion, we meet the magical, medicinal, malicious, medical malpractice man, moreover known as Medic. The first thing about Medic is his syringe gun. It's in his primary slot. Why? Couldn't tell you. It's insultingly weak in combat and can only really be used effectively if you take the time to master a weapon that's not really worth it, in my opinion. It is nice to have so that you can fire at somebody while you retreat, and it can kill people that are on low health, but it's extremely situational. The more useful thing about Medic is his Medigun, which heals the person you're pointing it at by pressing the fire button with a decent range to it. Switching who you're healing by releasing the fire button and then pressing it on the new friendly. Doing this to someone already at full health will actually give them overheal, where you can give them half their maximum health as extra health, though this does slowly fade over time down to their normal amount. As Medic, you'll find a lot of people dedicated to taking you out, so stick near your team and keep them in the fight. You'll be hearing a lot of calls for Medic while you play from people manually pressing the button to ask for healing. There is a way to set up an automatic alert for yourself when playing so you can keep track of people's health. I'll show you how to set that up at the end with the other tips for starting out. Aside from staying alive and keeping other people alive, there's one more trick up your sleeve, your Uber Charge. It's a game changer in a bottle once you've healed enough people. The little bar at the bottom right will reach 100% and then you're ready to hit mouse 2 to activate it. After that, as long as you keep your Medigun equipped, you and whoever you're healing are fully invincible to all weapon damage. In fact, if you change who you're healing back and forth quickly, you can do something called flashing your uber, where you can make multiple people invincible at once, though this does drain the uber charge much more quickly, so it is a situational trick. Be warned though, if you want to build up uber as quickly as possible, healing people that are already at maximum health does build uber more slowly. Finally, when you have managed to build that uber, that glow on the minigun isn't just a cool effect for show, enemies can see it and they will know you have uber, so be careful. Sniper. What can we say? Absurdly long range, and one good one can shut down a whole team? Well yeah, that's a good place to start, I guess. Let's jump straight to the main attraction, that sniper rifle. Line up your sights on someone's head and shoot for a guaranteed critical hit, dealing enough damage to kill a scout, engineer, medic, or spy with a quick scope. Or if you look to the right while aiming down sights, you'll notice that little bar filling up. That's your charge, and the more of that you have, the more damage the next shot will do. Fully charged headshot will deal enough damage to one-shot even a heavy that's been overhealed to the max. Not to knock on body shots either though, they do far less damage, but what gets the job done gets it done. Treat every body shot like a warm-up for your next headshot and you'll be fine. As sniper, you want a nice long sight line where you can just pop heads, but you'll rarely get it. Counter snipers, spies, and particularly slippery scouts, all of them are going to try and kill you or close the distance. For other snipers, try hiding your dot. You may notice when you're aiming down sights you can see a small dot on the point where you're aiming. This is visible to everyone else as well, a warning for where you're aiming, so try to hide it on or near where you're actually wanting to shoot. For spies, keep your ears open for the sound of them decloaking, then turn and shoot them, with your SMG or your rifle if you're feeling confident. I wouldn't recommend running in for melee as you might get trick stabbed if the spy knows what they're doing. As for scouts, if they're harassing you, try and set up near a sentry nest or the rest of your team. If they've gotten close, you're at a really big disadvantage, by all means try, but it's going to take a lot of practice before you can take down scouts at close range. And finally we get to Spy. Frenchman with the ability to cloak, disguise himself as your friends, and instantly kill you from behind with a knife to the back. In a different genre, Spy would be a horror monster. Starting off with your Invisawatch, press mouse 2 and you'll become cloaked. Be careful though, you can't attack while you're like this, and water, fire, Jiraiya, and bumping into an enemy can all reveal where you are. Make sure to keep an eye on that cloak meter as it ticks down while you're invisible. You can keep it charged by walking over ammo packs, the floating ones that respawn and the ones dropped by dead players. If your cloak runs out, you'll become visible. The other part of your infiltration kit is the disguise kit. Bring it up and you have a choice of all the classes to make yourself appear as to the enemy team. You can even get heals from dispensers and medics from the other team, take their teleporters, and their sentries won't attack you while you're like this. You'll look like a player on that team, so be careful though. Two of the same person will get you caught fast, as we're walking towards them, so try to act like the class you're disguised as. I don't recommend Scout as a disguise because with all other disguises, Spy will match that class's speed, but with Scout you can't double jump and your speed is noticeably slower than it should be. Any attacks while disguised will cause it to vanish and you'll have to activate it again. Moving over to the offensive side, you've got your gun and your knife. The gun is simple. Get caught, pull it out and shoot while running away to hide. The knife though is something special. Weak up front, but if you can successfully get behind someone, you'll raise the knife up and plunge it into their back when you attack. This will always kill unless they're Ubered. Take your time though, clicking to stab too early can cause the stab to fail if they move. Take a breath and do it right. The final part of your kit is your zapper. Take it out and place it on enemy buildings to shut them down and destroy them with a short delay. You can even do this while you're disguised. Handy tool for getting rid of engine nests. If you're in a hurry and you feel safe enough to try it, you can also pull out your gun and shoot the building to destroy it even faster to hopefully stop the engineer from saving the building. Now we just have to go over the options to make starting a little bit easier for you. First things first, go to options. I like to switch duck to the shift key, it's just more ergonomic, it makes everything a little bit easier for me. Then you want to go to advanced options and you want to scroll down to combat options. Automatically reload when you're not firing, that's a great option to have. Fast weapon switch, I like to have this on, it's been so long since I played without it, I don't even think I could anymore. But if you want to just take the time to learn which weapons are which, I'd leave it off for now, but it is something that will make switching your weapons in a pinch much quicker. All of that you can customize on your own time to how you like it personally. Class-specific options, I find that having the sniper automatically zoom back in for me is great. I don't like any of these other options, but tweak them if you'd like. This is just what I use to make things a little bit easier for myself. Medic, injured teammates automatically call out. They don't have to press a button. I find that a little bit under half is a good way to have it so that I'm not constantly getting bombarded with notifications, but I can still, heal them before they drop. As for the community server I mentioned for learning how to rocket jump, go to Find Game, Community Servers. I already have it typed in, but you just go down to here where Add Common Tags is, type in jump _academy. Click on that, just join in, switch to soldier, and the maps will rotate and you'll be able to get all sorts of practice in. Well, I hope whether you're here to learn how to play for the first time or you just needed a refresher, I was able to show you all the things that are basic about each class. I actually didn't know this would be going up on TF2's birthday when I started working on this video, so that just worked out very well for me, didn't it? This is mainly just to help people who are just starting out learn how to play, or like me, starting with TF2 as their first PC game. There are a ton of more in-depth tutorials all over the place online. Mr. Paladin, Lazy Purple. I highly encourage you to go check those out. Thank you for watching. Take care now.